This is Doug, the Modeling Hermit, and you see before you a 1960 Desoto two-door hardtop from the JoHan company. And it's really nice and pretty now, but it didn't start out that way. It started out as a rebuilder. And we're going to show you in the next few minutes here just how this car came from a piece of junk that was actually slated for the junkyard diorama that I'm building to this nice pretty shelf quality model. So follow along as we take this thing from a rebuilder to built. Well, so what do we have in the bag? This is a rebuilder. I've got several of those lately. We're going to take a look at this thing and see what we have. It is a 1960 Desoto. I was hoping it was a 59, but it's 60. A lot of stuff been glued onto it there. Lots of stuff been glued on. White wall not in very good shape there. This is... Okay, this thing is an original. It is not a reissue. The axle, the fact that it's had fender skirts on it, and all these extras that were glued on that were original from the original kit, that just tells me this thing is an original and not a reissue. Not only that, but it's not molded and colored. So, we're going to have some fun with this, and it is brush painted. Very thickly brush painted, and that might be good because, like I said, it's had the fender skirts on it, and it's had goodies on the back here that have been glued on, and something was glued onto the hood, and that looks like it was glued onto the paint. So after it was painted, that was glued on. Now we do have an issue right here. This is going to give me fits, I'm sure. Minor fits, but something was glued on that did go into the body. Whatever was glued onto there did actually get into the body, go through the paint and get into the body itself. So that can be an issue. There were some things glued on here and here. Probably some sort of antennas were glued on there. Looks like where they would go. Probably mirrors or spotlights on here. Again, they don't seem to have done much. It does look like they might have got into the body, but not done much damage. The chrome is looking really good. A little scuff mark here. I think that chrome I can just hit that with some Revel chrome paint, and that should take care of that in a hurry. Should be fine. The back bumper, a little bit of an issue here. Yeah, it's going to need to be redone too. So I will have to hit that. Those strange hubcaps. Those were, I think they're called lake hubcaps or something like that. They're just a big moon hubcap. And I think they were designed for speed or something like that. Decals will come off with the paint when I throw that into Purple Pond. We do still have all the door handles and the trim, so that's there. They'll trim down the whole side, so they did not dechrome this thing. There's a Desoto emblem there, and the backup lights there. This side is looking good. All up here, that's good. There. And this chrome piece still, yeah, so they have not, what about, yeah, there's the emblem for the hood. It's still on. So yeah, they've not hurt the body to any extreme. Oh, the glass. What about the glass? A couple very minor issues here. Looks like a little scratch there. That's a hair there. A little scratch there. I think that this is going to be okay on the glass. I'll probably have to just do a light buffing on the glass. The interior, how about the interior? We've got something glued on there, and that, but I don't see, let's see, we got that tack thingy glued onto it. Other than that, the interior is actually looking pretty good on this thing. So this is not going to be a hard restoration. Oh, let's take a look at the chassis here one time. They've got some sort of extensions there glued on for the exhaust. That's all that I see glued on, but boy, they got plenty of glue all over it, though. They got glue there, big wad of glue there. But I always like to sand out those trademark thingies anyway, so I'll just probably sand all that down. That'll be fine. A couple of things that have been glued on here that I probably have to address that. Other than that, it doesn't look too bad. And being the type of chassis it is, I always just paint those things flat black. A lot of times I don't even worry about the exhaust. There's just not that much detail. So it'll go into the purple pond and come out, get some minor work done to it, and then get a spray paint job on it. I'll decide what color I'm going to do it. And that's going to be about it. So I think this one is going to turn out to be a fairly decent rebuild on this in here. So once again, this is a 1960 Desoto from the JoHan Corporation. And it is an original, not a restoration, or not a revival model, reissue, whatever they call them. It even has the original screws to it, all three of them, they're still there. Well, I have the paint off the 60 Desoto, 1960 Desoto. This is a JoHan model. And interesting things happen. I thought that most of that stuff had just been glued onto most of the junk they had glued onto this thing was just glued onto the paint. Well, unfortunately, in getting the paint off, I discovered that there had been things glued on before this thing was ever painted. And yeah, and also whoever built this thing at some time or another handled it with glue on their fingers, because there is, I don't know if you can really see it or not, but right here, you can tell there's some like glue finger marks. This probably you can see better over here. There's just places where they've handled this thing with glue on their fingers. And yeah, so that's going to be interesting. There's several other places on the body too. But yeah, on the back of the body, you can see that this is the hood, trunk lid here. And yeah, there's been things glued onto that. That's going to take some work. Nothing that's, going to damage it permanently. It's just, that it's going to take some work to sand that out and fill it with some body filler. Again, there's the top. Looks like maybe they've had like some sort of light or something on the top. And the hood is the same way. They've had something on that. Thankfully, in the areas where the emblems and door handles and chrome strips are at, there don't seem to be any problems there. So we've lucked out there. All of my trim on it is fine. Around the wheel well, they've had fender skirts on this, and there is going to be some cleanup, but that's going to be fairly easy to clean up there too. So this one is just, it's just, damage in building. I don't know now if you can see that on that fin any better where that finger marks were at. Sometimes this thing hones in better for the distance. So the big thing that I ran into on it, and I'm glad that I did things the way I did, because I discovered that if you can, I'm sure you can't see this, but right in here, this line that I'm following here, that's been split out at some time. That piece has actually been broken out of there. There's little chip out marks in the chrome strip around here. And of course, with all the paint that they had on this thing, the brush paint, you couldn't see that through that. So anyway, it's been repaired. They've done a really pretty good job of repairing it. At first I thought it was just, glue marks. And then when I got to look at it and go, no, somebody's repaired that at some time or another. So obviously this is a rebuilder of a rebuilder. That's going to cause a little bit of an issue just with painting, but I was able to get some tape on the windows here to hold that. And yeah, so this is going to be a fun one to try and do. But we're down to now to just sanding these areas out and smoothing out the body. And then I think we can start painting on this one. So this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Like I say, this is JoHan's 1960 Desoto. And let's see, the interior, I haven't started work on the interior. It's still in the plastic bag yet. You probably can't see that at all in there. There's not a whole lot of work to do on that. And we'll just see what happens on the interior. So, until next time, when I have some more work to do on this thing, we're just going to be plugging away, trying to fill in those holes and smooth the body out on this one. Well, we've done some more work on this 1960 DeSoto. I've reworked the windows a little bit on them. I'm still going to have to do more to those. There's just some deep scratches in there that are going to really, they're just giving me fits. So I'm going to have to definitely get out the polishing kit. And I mean, it's both sides of them. So I'm going to have to get out the polishing kit again and go to work on that windshield. That's actually plastic, but what they call the glass. I've got to work that. That's going to be tough on that one. I did manage to get it loose from the car finally. And a little piece here, there was actually, they had glued that so solidly to the body that at some point or another, somebody had tried to remove that from the body and ripped a piece of the body out. And I managed to do a nice little cut around there and was able to cut that loose so that I could get that away from the body. I'll show you that in a little bit, what I had to do on the body. The dash, I just kind of hit that with some blue and then some Maltol chrome on that. Nothing special on it. Let's see, the front and rear bumpers, I hit those with Revel's chrome. They came out pretty good. I did those. I had one car left out of that can to do. I did a Lincoln that kind of finished up that can. But they came out good enough to suit me for this car. I mean, this is not a show car. The dash, I just kind of did that in a three-tone blue, like what would have been in original colors. But it's real shallow. I mean, like you see, I mean, there's just nothing to that chassis. Interior, I don't know what all I've been calling it, but that interior, there's really nothing there to really work with. Real shallow. So anyway, that's what I've done with that. The chassis, I just hit that some black spray, let it go with that. I was going to try and clean that up, but there's so much glue all over it that I just left the glue and just go, it's not really worth it to have to dig all that out. If I had a really detailed chassis, I would have done some more work on it. But there just wasn't enough there. The hubcaps or wheels there, I'm going to have to find some hubcaps for that. Because they've really glued that solid. Let me tell you what. They had it glued so solid, it looks like they've actually had some of the paint come off that white wall. I'll have to touch that up there too a little bit. But yeah, I'm almost really thinking in this and here, maybe finding some other wheels for it or something yet. So I haven't done a whole lot of search yet on that. I've got to figure out what I want to do there. I can probably just put some hubcaps on it, but then I know what's underneath those hubcaps, and that's going to drive me nuts. So anyway, that's the chassis. The body, I was able to get that body to where, let me get my pointer. Okay. This area right down in, get that off there. This area right down in here was where the body had separated out when they had the, geez, you can't hold that. That's got a curt circle. There we go. Maybe that'll hold it. This area here had come out with the body here. I've got that filled in, smoothed out, got that separated out from the glass there, and then got that smoothed out so you really can't tell it a whole lot. There's, some issues a little bit with that yet, but it's good enough for this car. A few other little places where there's, some dings showing, but for the most part, I'm pleased with it. This blue coming down here, this piece in here all gets chromed on that. It gets chromed around its sides. So the only thing is just this little bit of top here that's blue, with dark blue. So pretty much I'm pleased with this. The taillights, I managed to finally get those out. And when we took the paint off them, they were actually red underneath. So I still got to do the backup lights on it, do some chroming here and there. And, well, a lot of chroming, actually. This thing's got a ton of chrome on it. And, yeah, pretty much this is ready to start detail on yet. I'm going to give it another probably day or so before I start detailing it to let that paint fully cure, especially at top since that's testers, and testers takes a little longer to cure. So, that's the 1960 Desoto coming along finally on it. And we will see what happens with that yet. It's, like I said, this plastic, what glass we call it, windshield and back window are going to really need a lot of work on that. And the car is definitely worth my trying to do something with that. I mean, it's going to turn into a nice shelf model. It'll never be anything. It's like that. There's a Lincoln around here someplace I've been working on. It's nothing, like the Lincoln. It's nothing that's going to be really a show quality car or anything. I'm not even trying for that. So, but we will see what we can come up with on that glass. We're down to the end on the 1960 Desoto Rebuilder. The windows were not as bad as I thought. There was one place, I don't know if you can actually see it or not, probably not in this, but right there's actually a mark that's in the plastic. I tried buffing that out both sides and took a feel on it, and it's actually a mark that's in the plastic, a defect in it. So I didn't try and work that much on it. There are some still minor, very minor scratches here and there. For this one, I didn't worry about those. I mean, it's very presentable, quite presentable. So we've got the chrome trim on it. I chose, probably shouldn't have, but I chose to do the Molotov pen for the chrome trim. I'm kind of wishing now I'd gone ahead and done the bare metal foil, but that's a lot of work on that. Like I said, this is a rebuilder, and it's a case of good enough. JoHan's 1960 Desoto two-door hardtop kit. And, yeah, so it's, the colors came out nice on it. I'm like the two-tone blue. I did a kind of a three-tone blue on the interior. I have it assembled ready to go in. The glass had a piece back here that was actually glued into they had at one time or another glued this body. Obviously, this has been a reassembled part, but they had actually glued the glass into, I'm trying to think just how to say this. They glued the glass to the body in such a way that it was stuck so well that at some point over the period of time in this car's life, 60-some years, I guess almost 70 now, that somebody had tried to do a repair on that and had broken that. And then when they put it back together, they just coated it with paint. And so I didn't even see that till I actually was had the car in the stripper. The glass wasn't coming off, and so I finally just did a cut across here in order to take that apart without damaging it anymore, because I wanted to leave that assembled as much as I could. And then I put filler in there, put a little glue in there and some filler in, rescribed some lines. And that's about the best I could do on this thing. It was a challenge. But we were able to do it and get the body to look good. We got the glass back in. When I put it back in, I used double stick tape to hold that together. I didn't want to cut this. I absolutely wanted to leave that together. And I just used double stick tape to hold that. And so now I think that's the preliminaries. Let's see, I mentioned a little while ago that I'd used Revels chrome trim paint on this. I had one car left after this chrome, so this one came out pretty good on here. I am not blackening in the grill or doing any detail on it. I'm just leaving that this gonna look more like just a promo when I'm done. The chassis. I found a 62 Buick kit had some flat hubcaps that I was able to just stick on there, a light gluing on to just kind of tack them on. My hopes are at some point or another to find some other tires and wheels to use on this thing. These things are glued so bad that, I mean, the hubcaps stick out a mile. These hubcaps, even the flat ones, stick out a mile from the wheel itself because there's so much glue on the wheel. And in order to remedy that, I would have had to take this all apart. And these old axle connections here are so brittle over the years that they just shatter when you try and do that. So I decided to just kind of leave things alone as they are. And we'll just put those on. They'll look okay from a distance. This will be a shelf model, kind of an upper, maybe to the back shelf model at this point until I get some of these things reworked on it. So with that, let's see what we can do about putting this thing together. I'm going to take a look here. Like I said, I've got the glass in. I want to see what this interior is going to take to glue it in or to hold it in or whatever. I think, oh, sheesh, man. Sheesh, man. The only thing holding, look, is, I don't know if you can see inside there or not, but that's how much of a gap there is between that interior. There's a huge gap at the back. Let me get my back in here. There's a huge gap between the windshield and the interior tub. It actually shows through here. I mean, that's how far off these were. I mean, model kits come a long ways over the years. So I'm not sure just how I want to address that. I really don't want to use glue there because that is going right straight on to the glass itself. So we are going to, you know what? I think at this point, I may just simply tape that. I'm going to probably put you guys on to hold here for a little bit. And we'll come back and we'll see how I'm going to do that yet. I'm going to have to experiment with that for a little bit. So we're going to put you on hold for a while. All right, so I found a way of gluing that in. I was going to have to glue it on the glass anyway. So I used Tester's Clear Part Cement. That seems to work well for this. And it did not seep down onto the glass itself. The glass is fine. So we lucked out. We were able to do that. We do have a hair. Looks like one of the cat hairs. So anyway, yes, so that's what this is. I've got some other glues around here someplace that I use for that. One of the things that I use a lot of times is a water-based glue called canopy glue. But it's right there. It's $4.29 when I bought this probably 2-3 years ago or more. And I used it a lot for the same thing. But I was able to use that other, which is a little bit stronger for this purpose. So it came out good. I'm lucked out on that. So now we're going to put together the car itself. We have the grill that's going to go onto the front here. And it just simply snaps in like this. And then there's a rear bumper that goes on too. And then, so anyway, yeah, there's the rear bumper. So then let me back this thing up a little bit so that you can see what we're doing here. Okay, JoHan kits at this time only had 3 holes in them. There was just one at the rear and then 2 at the front. So the one at the rear and 2 at the front. And that just simply goes in like that there. It just slips right in. And then you got 3 little screws that go into it. And for those, I will need a little screwdriver. Get my fancy dancy kit out of here. And I'm trying to work a mile away from me so that you can see what I'm doing. We're going to start the rear one first. And I mean, this is just so simple. I mean, it just drops right in. Once these things are in, the car is built. And we have another one at the front on it. Let me back that up a little bit. Line this up a little bit tighter here. And drop a screw into that. And then we go for our last screw. Now, interestingly enough, in the 1970s, mid-1970s, JoHan came out with a series of models. I think it was the Oldies USA series. I think something like that they came out with. And it was basically these same cars. And they were just the stock version of it. They eliminated all the all the custom parts, all the fun things to put onto them. They eliminated all that, and you got just the stock version. I think there might have been of limited decals, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to think, but I think there might have been limited decals. And I remember a bunch of us got together. I was in the Army at the time, and several of us got together, and for some reason we decided to have a contest to see who could build these things the fastest. And we each grabbed a kit, and I think mine was the 62 Plymouth convertible, if I'm not mistaken. And we went to see how fast we could put it together. And I know that mine, I put it together in about 20 minutes. That's with cutting the parts off and, no paint or anything like that, just straight from the box. And there are people that actually put theirs together faster than me. And now I kind of wish, we hadn't done that, because that was the last of them coming out there. Let's see, they had that, and then they did a series of promos. And after that, you didn't see a whole lot. I think that somehow or another, molds got lost or stolen or something like that. So anyway, somewhere along the way, we lost JoHan as a serious contender in the modeling market. And it's a shame because there was a lot of great cars like this that you no longer can get. So anyway, that's why these things can go together so fast. But I like to try and still, even with what they are, limited as they are, I still like to take my time and, enjoy the kit, enjoy the fact that I'm building a JoHan kit. And probably will never JoHan kit, and probably will never see new ones like that again. So with that, we have the completed model, and it didn't come out too awfully bad. There's that little gap at the back of the interior, but that's nothing too noticeable. It came out pretty good for a rebuilder. This was slated to go into the junkyard. There was a 1959 Lincoln that I did recently and a 1965 Oldsmobile. All of those were set for the junkyard. And all three of them got saved instead of going to the junkyard. There is one more thing that we're going to do on this kit. I was just looking at this and I go, we're missing something. Do you see anything that we're missing? Do you see that? We're not done with this kit yet. We'll be back. Okay, so we have the finishing touches placed on the car. They were at the back end. They were called the taillights. And yeah, I had forgot to put those on for some reason. The car looked a little odd without them. But it looks better now. I did paint those. They're actually molded in a really weird red. And so I did repaint those. And I used Molotow liquid chrome marker for my chrome trim. I'm kind of wishing now that I'd gone ahead with the extra effort and used the bare metal foil on it. My lines are not as perfect as they could have been. The hubcaps are not really too beautiful on here. We're going to be working with finding some other tires and wheels on this eventually. I'm not going to get too carried away with it right now. It's shelf quality for now. That's all this model will ever be, is shelf quality anyway. Being an old JoHan kit that's been rebuilt several times, obviously, when looking at it, and some damages that were done to it. I repaired as much of those damages as I could. Luckily, my vent posts were in good shape because those are a trick to do on these late 50s, early 60s Mopars. Those vent posts could be a real challenge. So with that, let's see. The hubcaps did come from the 62 Buick kit. They're the spinner hubcaps out of that. And they're just tacked on for now. I'm going to call this incomplete. I kind of really like it. The colors came out like I wanted, like just a showroom quality color that you would have seen at any point back in that time. Things sanded out good. They had put fender skirts on it, but there was very little damage to the body from those fender skirts. So those came out real good. The wheel wells look good on it there. The chrome trim, the bumpers and grill, I did touch those with the Revel chrome spray. Came out good. They came out really good. And that's pretty much about all I can say for this one. And I think that at this point we can call it completed. And this is Doug, the Modeling Hermit. And I am off the air and I'm gone.